All right, so we've been using the boat now for about 2 months maybe. Didn't really do a whole lot of upgrades, but we are going to move on to something new. We decided to get a foot-controlled trolling motor for the front of the boat. Last video that I put up of the boat, everything is still the same. Same motor on the front. We got a couple of longer posts for when we sit on the bow, and we had a trolling motor on the back to hold our Lowrance fish finder, and that's fine, it's working fine, but we decided to change it up a little bit. We want a front mount foot controlled trolling motor. So I'm going to show you a little bit of what we plan on doing, and then hopefully when it all comes to fruition we can show you what the boat finally looks like on the water, driving around, fishing with it. But so let's check it out. You can see we've already taken out the plates so we can run some wiring. We used to have the fish finder right about here, so when I was driving back there I could see it, but we're getting too much wash, too much false reading. So the plan is to do this. On the plate that goes here, we're going to drill out a hole for a plug. That plug will go to the battery, and what it will essentially do is work as our battery tender or charger when we park the boat, and when it's time to run the boat we'll take the power cables and actually attach them to another male end, so when we get out in the water, plug it into the plate. That'll then be our power to the trolling motor. We're going to run a 50 amp breaker on the a 60 amp breaker on the trolling motor, which will go right next to it. It'll be a push button, so if it pops out I know we got stuck in the weeds. This is our wiring for our Lowrance. This is a 5, this is the hook 2, so this will just go down in here and it will follow the same track for wiring as our lights that go underneath the gunwales here. So that's essentially what we're going to do there, and then obviously we're going to need the transducer. Now we're planning on getting a bigger one of these, hopefully somewhere around a 9-inch screen, which will be housed in the center of the boat eventually. But you know, based on what we did initially with the boat, you know, with this big light, we had to decide how we're going to do this. Well, luckily, after a lot of research, deciding what we wanted, we didn't go with the lowest grade Minn Kota, but we went with a mid-grade one. We got a Powerdrive, which has a shorter base, right? Sticks out from the boat a bit. I was kind of worried about that, but a ton of bass boats do this. We're going to take it off, we think, in the winter to do duck hunting. We might keep it on, I'm not really sure, but you can see with this big front light, we were worried that it wasn't going to be able to work. We don't typically go out in the early mornings or late at night, so we haven't had to use any of these lights yet, but for the time being, it actually rests right over the top. Even if it was gonna bounce, I mean it's not mounted down yet, but even if it was gonna bounce, it wouldn't hit the headlight. So it's looking good there. None of the wires rub. That's pretty lucky. We're gonna run our transducer up the shaft here. There's a little trick where you put a little hook mount here and it goes through, and then we'll do the spring trick up top, and it's already run down through here underneath, and then it'll go to the fish finder. We'll also have a couple of little things here screwed in to the plate that'll feed the wire over, so it's nice and clean. We'll take you along for the ride, but right now we've got a 45-pound thrust Powerdrive that we're going to put on the front. Luckily for us, we can get it right in the center of the boat where it should be. Hopefully relieve us from using some of the anchors close to the shore. This is going to be hopefully a game changer for bass fishing. Other than that though, the boat has been running fantastic. So stay tuned. The way we mounted this up, pretty easy. You drill 6 holes in the bow of your boat or wherever you're going to put it. You put the rubber bushings in between. It's just bolt goes on the top. Once you take this side plate off, you just take these 2 screws out, the side plate comes off. You can get at the 6 Phillips screws with the nuts. So it's pretty easy to mount this. Only thing is this right here kind of rubs, so we may need to put an extra piece of rubber right here. But should be good. It's finally done. I'm pretty sure. This is the 1754 Tracker Grizzly, Tohatsu 15 horsepower motor. We've installed the Minn Kota Powerdrive. And as you can see, a bunch of other gadgets and gizmos. We've got some 16-inch poles for the front deck. We've got a couple of those in case you want to fish from the middle. 11-inch posts with all the camouflage seats for duck hunting. Added a little bit nicer deck mount across all the middle. That was from the first video. Trolling motor battery is in on this side. Regular batteries over here. Bow storage over here. Okay, this thing is we built as a table. We usually put the tackle box on there, but you can see we got some nice vests, some extra vests there are throwable. We're going to show you now how to put the trolling motor down and how the whole operation works. Oh yeah, and we added the Lowrance Hook 2 fish finder I was talking about earlier. I'm going to show you how this works and talk you through it as we do it, and then I'm going to show you all the cables and cords, how they are run to keep them nice and clean. A couple things we did. We put the Lowrance transducer on the bottom. It's mounted tight. We're going to see how this works, see if the motor gives us some false readings, but I think this will be all good here. Drilled one hole here, ran the cable up and around to this zip tie. Then here I put a spacer in and a quarter 20 Allen bolt. This runs it so it doesn't get caught in any of these pinch points. As it runs up, it just stays loose. Quick and easy zip tied to a cable. Actually, this holds it from coming too far. We didn't want to pinch it, so we did it like that. It gives us some room in case we go too far around. Then, of course, down through the accordion. And then that gets run just across to this mount here. It's nice and loose so it doesn't get caught in anything. We've run it through two little cable guides so it can have some movement in case something gets stuck. We added a Marinco 2-plug receptacle and added that to the end of the trolling motor along with a 50 amp breaker. So if it does get caught in some weeds, we can clear it and then reset it right here. It's all 100% waterproof. So that's pretty cool. And then we have our foot pedal here mounted with some rubber feet. So that should be good. We're not going to build a floor recess in it because I don't want to cut any more holes in this boat. So now I'm going to show you how it comes down and how it works. You see here that this one here, it's small side and the big side. We put negative on the big side, hot on the small side. It actually plugs in and twists to lock so you can't pull it out. Now next we're going to show you how this comes up and down with the cable routing. All right, so basically when you're on here, it's a lot easier when you just step on this, but you need to put some force behind it to pop it out. Now, as you can see, this cable guide goes through here, and when you pull it down, it makes it follow it all the way to the floor and locks in. It's good right there. Now this has plenty of room to move. It will not hit to the propeller. It can't even reach it. If you go around too far, this will stop it. So I'm going to show you that real quick now that it's plugged in. You can see it goes all the way around. If you go too far, this will pull rather than the cable break. It's pretty common. Then you go all the way back around. It'll do a full 720 before there's any cable pull. So we've got plenty of room on this cable. It shouldn't break if we're careful. You see everything moves around nice and neat. It's pretty slick. Then when it's time to put her back up, set it up. Obviously you'll click that with your foot, pull it down. And then as you can see, the cable guide runs it all the way up, locks into place. And if there is any slack that gets caught up, that spring over here will allow it to catch that slack.
Okay.
So the final piece of this puzzle, I think we've got everything dialed in just how we're going to like it, is charging that battery over here. Our drive and cranking battery, we use it for house lights and we use it for the cranking. It gets charged by the motor as you drive, but our trolling motor that also runs our GPS and fish finder needs to be charged. So we ordered the Marinco receptacle and we ordered two male ends. What I did is I got myself a 10 amp charger, or it's a charger and a trickle charger. So it'll maintain at 3 amps, it'll charge at 10 amps. Basically, it's the same thing. Hot on the small side, ground on the big side. It goes in, it locks in. You hit start. It'll charge at 13 to 14. I believe that's the spot that it should charge. I've heard a lot of different things on the internet, but 10 amps should charge a marine battery pretty good overnight. And then this one has, they call it a smart charger, will actually sit it at 3 amps to keep it topped off while it's sitting around. But ultimately, that's what we're going to use.
Move it up here, show me the name, tell me what
So it's called a Schumacher, built for charging. I mean, this is one I got at Walmart. It says 2 amp maintainer, but it actually says 3 on the box, so I don't know why it says 2 there. But you can see it's a 10 amp battery charger. Everything I've read says a 10 amp is about what you need for a big deep cycle battery. Should charge it in so many hours. And we don't know if this is everything we're going to do, but right now I think we got everything tip top. We're going to charge this up for Saturday, and then we're going to get out on the water and show you what she looks like on the water. We'll cruise around and show you some other stuff on the motor, and that's about it.
Now that table is also used for lunch.
Yeah, that's true. Lunch is important. Well, we were a little worried on how bright it would be with the trolling motor on, but I think we're going to be okay. It does cast a little shadow, but I think that it will be fine, although that might be a little bit of a bright flashback at me. We'll see.